Hey y'all, it's Sammy. Welcome to Called to Be Different, Reflecting Christ. I decided I was going to do a live today. I have never done a live on this channel, so I'm excited about that. But I didn't get the opportunity to film this week, so I thought I'll just do a live instead. So that's what we're doing. So today I was going to drop a short talking really about this verse that I was studying this morning in Matthew 21. It's verses 12 and 13, and it says this. It says, Jesus entered the temple of God and drove out all who sold and bought in the temple, and he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seat of those who sold pigeons. He said to them, "It is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers." So I wanted to talk about this because I feel like we are even doing this to this day. Hey, Jamie, how are you? We're still doing this to this day. We are literally just using and abusing God's house, and that just completely breaks my heart because I feel like it just sucks that there are so many, especially Protestant churches, and I don't really want to get on hating on Protestant because I know there are so many wonderful Protestant churches out there, but at least in my town and in my city, there are so many Protestant churches that are there's one down the street that is literally a coffee shop, and it's kind of like their main thing is to be this coffee shop. And then there's another one that me and my husband were actually looking for a place to go. Before we decided to go Catholic, we were looking for other churches. We happened to be looking around anyways. And when we were looking around, we stumbled across this church that promised you a refund on your tithes if you would at least tithe for a good 3 months. And I thought, what in the world? First off, who would have the audacity to go to a church and say, "Hey, it didn't really work out for me. Can I please have my money back?" So I just thought that was a really crummy way for the church to even approach someone wanting to give to the church. And it almost was like, even though they're not claiming a prosperity gospel, it's almost like it is a prosperity gospel because you're trying to say that, oh, God's going to bless you in some amazing, miraculous way. And if you don't see God come through, then we'll give you your money back. And I think, unfortunately, that's just a terrible, terrible way for people, churches, to go out there and try to encourage people to come and tithe and do what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to give to the Lord. Hang on, Coda's pulling on my... Hang on. Sorry, Coda's in this seat. Come here, Bubba. All right. Sorry, Coda's in... Yeah, I see. He's in his little seat and he got wrapped around my microphone wire. He's so cute. Okay, so anyways, let me see if I can pull you guys up here. Sorry, it's been a while. I've only done a live on my baking channel, and unfortunately, it looks like they've changed some stuff. Okay. Yes, definitely defeats the purpose of almsgiving, that's for sure. And it can discourage people, I think. I think it can pull you away and make you probably run away from the church. If you don't feel like God has come through for you because you have been giving to the church. Really, for me, it feels like the church hasn't come through for you. But anyways, I digress in that. But I wanted to talk about this because I feel like there's so many Protestant churches, especially. It's so different for me going into a Catholic church. I feel like our Catholic parish is all about we are here to worship God. We are here to do the Eucharist. We are here to be in the presence of Jesus, and that is the most important thing. And everything else is yeah, that's great, but that's not why we're here. And so I love that because with the Protestant church that I used to go to, it was event after event after event, and they almost ran us into the ground trying to, especially if you had a certain talent or something, they wanted to almost use and abuse you because you were free to basically you wanted to volunteer. And so they would be oh, well, then you can do all this for us. And, you don't really want to say no. And so you end up just getting overwhelmed. And I'm sure Catholic churches can do that too. So I don't want to put say it's only Protestant churches, but at least for me, I have felt like I was definitely ran into the ground at my Protestant church that I used to be at. And so, anyways, let's move on from that. But I did just feel like when studying that this morning, I thought, man, we are doing this so much right now. Coda, don't pull it, Bubba. Thank you. Even to this day, I feel like we're using the church to invite worldly things into our hearts. And there's so many churches in my town. I live in the Bible Belt, and there's so many churches in my town that are just, they're entertainment. They're concert arenas, they're apparel shops, they're coffee shops, they're all these things that is so worldly, and it is just so sad. So I feel like I've had some people ask me, like, what is one of the things as a Protestant that really made you go Catholic? 1,000% the Eucharist. And I really feel like if Protestants really truly understood the Eucharist and understood, like, what does it mean, because I definitely did not, if they understood that, they would probably go Catholic. But unfortunately, they don't understand that because they're taught to see it as just a symbol. And that is so heartbreaking. And it's not an easy thing to teach somebody the Eucharist, because it seems like, oh, it should be easy. Jesus said, this is my body, this is my blood, and if you don't do this, you don't have life. But it's so deep. And one of the books, let me see if I have it here. One of the books that really helped me, I've mentioned it before on my channel, is Brant Petrie. It's this one. It's Jesus and the Jewish Roots of the Eucharist. This book was so helpful. I absolutely love this book because it was the book that I was like, we are going Catholic. I'll see you later, Protestants. And I really feel like this is not taught in Protestant churches. It's just not. And I know some Protestant churches, like more like Orthodox and Anglicans, and I'm not even sure if Anglican does, but the ones that are closer to Catholicism, they are the ones that probably see the Eucharist a lot differently. I know some Lutherans will say that they see it that way, but at the same time, they're still not doing it the proper and the correct way. And a lot of them are just using still bread and grape juice, and that's just really sad. Let's see, Cody, the entertainment and how to feel not the worship of the Lord stated my deep dive into history of the church fathers. Yes, me too. Once I started looking into the church fathers, I was like, what have I been doing? I literally just felt like I have been lied to. I have been just deceived, and it really broke my heart because I did not know this. I really just felt abandoned, and it was just really hard for me at first to go Catholic, not because of Catholicism or anything like that, but because I almost had to shake all these ideas out of my head and go, faith alone is not true, and we should be working for the Lord. And I always thought that was a really weird thing for people to teach, and it was really hard for me to really understand it, and I fought against it. I think the Spirit is definitely going to lead you, and he's going to say, hey, you're going the wrong way here, and so let's get back on track. And if you've seen why I went to Catholicism, it was because I actually had my brother introduce Calvinism to me, and when he did that, I was just it felt like I got hit by a freight train. I was like, what is this? I've read my Bible, and this is not God. So it was something that took me a long time. It took me probably 3 or 4 weeks of me and my husband just going through everything and going, what is Calvinism and what is this? I immediately called it heretical. I was like, this has to be heretical. This cannot be true. And unfortunately, it is a teaching out there, and people believe it. And I think there's a guy, Sam Shamoom, I want to say is his name, but anyways, he has a YouTube, and he was Muslim and Islam, and he went to Christianity, and he first went to Calvinism, and he talks about how this is the same idea of predestination that Allah is. And so I thought that was really interesting, that this is what Calvinism is. And it just really turns God into a monster, and it just makes him such an evil deity. And it's this is not God. Literally, we read in the Bible that God is love. And so it's like, this is not love. Predestining and like handpicking individuals. I think there's something to say about why God chooses to consider himself a father to us and us his children. And, why we have a Mother Mary and why we have, like, Jesus is the firstborn of many brethren. It's literally family. It's a dynamic of relationships. And with Calvinism, to me, it just felt like this is not love. This is not like, if I have kids, I'm not going to not pick any of them. I want all of them. Every one that I have is such a blessing and so amazing. And so I want every one of my children to come and love me, but I can't force them. And there's no guarantee that when my kids grow up that they will love me. I can't say that, but I will definitely always be here with my arms open wide. Like the whole parable of the prodigal son. It's like, how do Calvinists like wrap their head around that? Like that prodigal son was just predestined to come back? I don't know. Anyways, so I had you guys kind of submit some things that y'all wanted me to talk about. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is veiling. So I'm still new to Catholicism. I don't really know a ton about veiling. I've heard some interesting things of like what the early church fathers probably saw this as, like a way to mask your, not really sexuality, but like, I don't know how to put it, like how fertile you were or something. They believed in like your hair was like tubes. Jimmy Akin has talked about this, and I thought that was really interesting. So I definitely want to study and learn more about veiling, but I, even as a Protestant, would read those verses from Paul and his teaching, and I thought that is so neat. And I think for Christians, we are called to be modest anyways. And as a woman, I definitely want to do my best to be as modest as I can. And there's something more empowering as a woman to be modest and to cover ourselves up. I think the world has told us that we need to be, almost completely naked for us to be worthy of being looked at. And unfortunately, that is just such a lie. And it is just like some chains were broken off when I like dumped the makeup and I dumped all the like, oh, I need to wear super tight clothes. It was so amazing to just leave all that behind. Jamie, I veil simply as an outward sign of reverence for the Eucharist. Yes, I have heard that. And I want to veil anyways. Like, I don't know what it is. It just feels like a right thing to do. But I do go to the Novus Ordo, I think is what you would call it. But I'm trying to see if it will let me. It won't like leave the chats on my thing. I don't know why it won't do that. So there's really not a lot that do veil at our church, but I would like to. I don't really care. If anybody looks at me weird or whatever, I want to veil just because I see it as a way, like you said, Jamie, to show reverence to our Lord. And and it's taught in the Bible, so I would like to follow as much as I can the word, but I definitely need to research it some more before I like really dive into what my true opinion is on it. So then I had somebody say that we talking about like working together as Protestants and Catholics. Yes. Yes, 1,000%. I think sometimes I can come across as maybe rude. Like I'll do these little shorts just kind of joking. And I really just mean it in good fun, because honestly, I was that Protestant that was like, yeah, say it again, because I'm obviously gonna die on this hill. And I do not believe that Peter is the Pope. And it was almost like you had to repeat it multiple times for me to sit there and go, yeah, okay, you're right. And I can't keep wanting to see scriptures the way that I want to see them. I need to take 10 steps back and go, hey, yeah, I could be wrong here. And if I am, I want to follow the truth, not my personal opinions. So yeah, we definitely need to work together as Catholics and Protestants. And we need to do our best to be loving to each other. Like, it is so aggressive in the comment section. It really is. And it breaks my heart. And I try to come with humility, and I try to come with like patience and kindness. And sometimes I swear, like just doing, comment after comment after comment that is negative, negative, negative. Like, it is such a breath of fresh air to get a beautiful Catholic that is like encouraging and lifting me up and going, girl, just keep your head high and keep moving on, because it is definitely hard. Cody, LOL, same here. I grew up in an anti-Catholic house, and my family is still not happy with me. Yes. That happens. I'm so sorry. I don't even, luckily for me, I didn't really have anyone, like, I'm still trying to convince my dad. I'm like, go Catholic, because he was hurt by the church. His dad left him and his mom and his sisters, and really just was in and out of their life so much. And then my dad was telling me that he like came back one time, and he decided one day that he wanted to be a Baptist pastor, and that's what they did. And they went to church, and his dad preached a couple times. And so my dad just has this view of like, he loves God, but because of his dad and what he did, trying to just be a pastor off a whim, even though he was obviously living a life of sin, I think that really messed with my dad, and he didn't know if he could really trust the church or even trust a pastor. So unfortunately, some churches can let us down like that, and some pastors can let us down, and that's really sad. But I've been trying to pull him in. I'm like, you need to come get the Eucharist, Dad. Come on. Like, come to the real house of God. Because I can understand that, going Protestant. Yeah. I think one of the hardest things for me leaving the Protestant church, I honestly have had like I want to say two people reach out to me, and I had such close relationships. So it's really hard for me to, everyone knows that I just lost my mom, and they know that we were moving churches, and I wasn't, crummy about it. I came, I volunteered. I even came back into VBS because I had already signed up. Me and my husband came back into that. And so I was trying to leave with as much grace as possible. And, I love all of them, but it really has been telling to me that they really weren't really concerned about me. If they couldn't use me for some video or some slides or something, then that wasn't good, helpful for them. So they just kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it feels like. Okay, Catholic. I'm Catholic. Liberal Catholics are the worst. I found them to be mean. Yeah. I think in both realms, like Catholic and Protestant, we can definitely be hoity-toity on both sides. And we really just need to realize that we're all here for the same thing. Like, we're all here for Jesus. And if we're truly trying to love Jesus and help others see the way, then we need to do our best to humble ourselves as much as possible and just kind of love them. And the more that we love people, I mean, you can catch more flies with honey. So definitely, I think we can bring people to the church just by loving them and doing it that way. Jamie, I'm helping my grandma convert to Catholicism. She's now 88 and has dementia, but I want her to have the Eucharist. Oh, yes, I will definitely pray for her. Oh my gosh, it just breaks my heart. Honestly, all my Protestant brothers and sisters, I'm like, I just wish I could like go to their church and say, can I get up in the pulpit and tell you guys about the Eucharist, or pass out some free Brant Pitry books? That would be great. Let's see. Yeah, I'm definitely going to put her in my daily rosary. Thank you for mentioning that, Jamie. Pray for my dad too. I mean, I really want him to come and just mend those wounds. I think, I was watching a video earlier, and this girl was talking about, evil in the world, and God is evil. And it was just so depressing, honestly. And I just thought, like, have you read the Bible? I know that there's some hard understandings, but I think we have to take the Bible with the understanding that it is a human story, but it's also about Christ coming to redeem us. And as soon as the fall happened, God was like, I got you, like, it might not be in our time. It might not be immediately. It might not be tomorrow. And I think the biggest thing is that God truly is love, and he's not going to force us to love him. He wants us to freely love him, because that's true love, is not forcing it. It's something that we have to choose. And so, but God has been working to redeem us from day one. And it is just such a beautiful, beautiful story. And I can't read the Bible and not see a loving God. So it just broke my heart to hear her viewpoint of that. But she was also introduced to Calvinism, and so I just feel like maybe, it's a hard teaching. It's not a true teaching, and I'll fight against that forever. But yeah, so anyways, so somebody asked me to pray the rosary. So I'm still learning the rosary. I definitely forget the Hail Holy Queen at the end. I get like all the way down to our life, our sweetness, and our hope. And then the rest goes out my head. I'm like, what is it again? And so I had to like pull it up on my app, which I do on my phone. And I'm also been filming on my phone. So as soon as I get the rosary down pat, I am going to come on here and do a live rosary with you guys, because I would love to do that. But yeah, you wouldn't want me to do that today, because one, I would bumble through it and that would be embarrassing. All right, so let's see, why some will refuse to admit that they are wrong. So I've had people say like, oh my gosh, like people just will not admit that they're wrong. And yeah, guilty. I was one of those people that, I don't know. I think it's really hard for us to be approached and be like, yeah, you're wrong about that, because we get defensive immediately. It's like, what did you say? I'm not wrong. I've been reading my Bible. And so many times when I talk to Protestants, it's like, I've done this for years and years and years. And it's like, that's great. But the thing that I like to remind them of is there's a lot of people who have done this for years, some even their entire life. So somebody's got to be wrong here. And just because some have done it for 40 years and some have done it for, 5 years, it doesn't matter. The Bible speaks of God that He will humble the proud. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's possible that it does not really matter. I know that, Paul does talk about some of us are babes who need milk, and, we got to grow in our understanding of scriptures. But for me, I immediately was like, I can't read the Bible and understand it. It is so deep and so rich, and there's so much in it that I need some help. So when I finally found the Catholic Church, I was like, this is what I've been missing, and I need a really, like, the church, not just a church, but the church to lead me as I'm studying scriptures. And I really love, if you have the Hallow app, there's the exegesis. I think his name's Hayden, and he's from like Australia, I believe. But his exegesis, I listen to that every night. It is so good, and I truly, truly appreciate him. Thank you, Jamie, for praying for my dad. Let's see. Century since Protestantism kind of has to be very anti-Catholic. If it wasn't, then everyone would ask, why did why did things change 500 years ago? Sorry, I'm going to have to read that again because my little mom brain is like spitting out here. Okay, Protestantism kind of has to be very anti-Catholic. If it wasn't, then everyone would ask, why did things change 500 years ago? That's true. Had to click and join. Hi, the Zealots Den. One of my favorite followers, always encouraging. I'm so glad that you're here watching the live. Catholic. What is IMHO? Oh my gosh, I don't know acronyms. I usually have to Google them when I see them because I'm like, I am so out of date. One of the most important things a person is to get some family members or friends out of your life. Yeah, I would agree with that. What's IMHO though? I don't know what that means. Do you do your own readings or the church's daily scripture readings? So I am actually going through the Bible in a year right now, if that's what you mean. Or you're talking about like the... Anyways, I'm going through that. I do listen to the daily mass readings on the Hallow app because I really just like that. But I don't always do that. So I try to just stick with... sorry, Coda's really loud. I try to just stick with the Bible in a year because that's very helpful for me. And I really like structure, so I need that. Cody Campbell, correct. Century since. Okay, so you're talking to him. Sorry. Sorry, guys. was like really hard to do a live on my phone. Aaron, I'm glad you chose to be true to the faith, led by Jesus Christ himself. Yes, me too. I'm so glad to be home. Like, honestly, I have always felt like I always felt like, do all Protestants feel this way? Do all people that go to church feel this way? Almost like, I don't know, like you're just not 100% certain on anything. I would read like one Catholic or one Protestant commentary, and I'd read another one, and I'd read another one, I'd read another one, and it would be like this line of, okay, I guess I have to, is it A, B, C, or D? I don't really know. And it was like up to me. And that's where Sola Scriptura is so scary, because it really leaves the individual to figure it out. Like, figure it out. Good luck. And I know that people will fight against Sola Scriptura, but I mean, Sola Scriptura is so bad. Like, if you really, really think about it and give it some time. Because I know when we were first approached, me and my husband with Sola Scriptura, he brought it to me. And he was like, yeah, Sola Scriptura is crazy. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? We obviously have a church. We obviously have a pastor. We obviously, listen to commentary. We're not just using the Bible. But when I really thought about it, I was like, but we do. We really do. At the end of the day, it's like, if I can't find it in the Bible, then it's not worth it to me. And unfortunately, that's what Sola Scriptura ultimately is. So we really do, as Protestants, use Sola Scriptura a little too much. We definitely need the church. And the more that you read the Bible and like think of Catholicism, it's like, why would Jesus pick 12 apostles and then like just get rid of the 12? Like, what was the point of the 12? What was the point of replacing Judas? Like, there had to have been a point. I think so many people will just say, oh, those were just the apostles and they were just to start the church. Well, there was tons of disciples that followed him. The Bible even records that. But none of them, like, he specifically taught and took them aside and showed them the parables and talked about how, the Father in heaven is revealing this to you. And so they were obviously given something special, apostolic succession, but they were given this ability to hold on to sins, retain sins, or lose sins. And unfortunately, Protestants will read the Bible and they'll read something like that, and it's like I see this so much. Maybe y'all see it too, but they'll take a verse like that and then they apply it to themselves. They're like, oh, this is to me. If I hold on to a sin or if I retain a sin, it's like, no, that's not for you. That was for the apostles. Like, you have to read the whole context. You can't just read that and then go, oh, this is directly towards me, so I can hold on to sins. Like, what? No. Like, you're supposed to forgive the apostles. Now they can hold on to some sins. Okay. Let's see. In my humble opinion, thank you for clearing that up. I'm so sorry. I seriously, like, in my honest opinion, okay, I gotta get my life together on this acronym. No worries with the rosary. I didn't even know the glory be was a prayer when I started. I didn't know that the sign of the cross was a prayer. I was telling my dad that the other day. I was like, I didn't know that. How cool. It's like a mini prayer, they say. And so, yeah, the Hallow app has definitely helped me out. And I love that it has like the book little thing, so it'll pull it up and you can actually read along with it. So I have everything else down, but as soon as I get to the Hail Holy Queen, I'm like, what is it again? And then I just, like, there's so many. I think this is something that probably, like, Protestants are really praised for knowing Bible scriptures. Now, I'm probably more like a Catholic. Trent Horn just did a video on, like, the Bible Blitzenberg or something like that, and he talks about how, like, a Catholic can get you there. He can get you to the same street address, but he's gonna be like, oh, it's up the hill on the right by the green, whatever, the green tent or green, I don't know. Anyways, he said basically we can get you there, but where a Protestant is like, oh, he lives at 132 Elm Street. And so we're both going to get you there, but I'm more on like the Catholic side or at least the way that Trent explained it. I'm really good at getting you there, but I'm going to have to go Google like what exact verse that is, because I don't know what it is, but my brain just does not retain that information. I'm really good at like memorizing like numbers, but when it comes to scripture verses and names, I'm the worst at that. Let's see. Cody Campbell, Mount Fred has a rosary book, Rosary Reflection, which is really beautiful. I would recommend it as well. Oh, thank you for the recommendation. I'm definitely going to check it out. I love reading, so especially if it has anything to do with Jesus and learning. Like, as long as it's not like learning something that is a waste of my time. So speaking of books, I wanted to talk about some books that I'm reading right now. Right now I'm reading The Potter's Promise. This is basically debunking Calvinism. I was trying to read this. This is by Leighton Flowers, if you know who he is. I wanted to read this because I really do want to help pull my brother away from Calvinism. But, you know, we'll see how that works out. He also starts the book by saying, good luck with that if you're trying to convince somebody not to be a Calvinist. So that was not very encouraging. Leighton, you should have started that differently. Anyways, but I'm excited to read this. This is Hell Holy Queen by Scott Hahn. I read his Home Sweet Rome or Rome Sweet Home? Either way. And I did a review of that book here on the channel, and I love that book. Like, completely could relate to him and his wife. So I love that. We're gonna do a couple more, and then I'm gonna get up here because Coda's about to flip out. MC, let's see, coming in the middle here. Ah! Sorry. Hang on, guys. Don't knock over my lights, Cindy. Okay. Coming in the middle here. I just saw some things about the rosary. The Lawn Day app. I think I have that app. I believe I did an app video recommending my top 12, which I need to redo a video on that because honestly, I found a lot more. And I think from that video, people recommended a lot more. Hang on, let me get Coda real quick. Hang on, bud. You want to come in? Okay. I got you. Sorry, I have like my desk pulled all the way up. Or coffee table, I guess you would call it. Here's the one that was making all the ruckus in the background. He's just learned to crawl, and he's just turned 6 months old, and he's already trying to walk. It's insane. But the third child, you know, they're fast. They're really fast. But yeah, that app, I believe I have it, so I'll have to check it out. I've been really addicted to the Hallow app lately. And the Formed is like offered through our parish, and so it has been really great too. You said it's great for prayers and has interactive rosary. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to check that out then. Let's see. Acts 26 through 40, Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch. Yeah, you know, that one was really helpful for me when I started reading that. I don't know if you were talking to somebody else, sorry. But Philip and the eunuch, that was so cool because, yeah, he was definitely like, yeah, I need some help. I can't just understand these scriptures all by myself. And it wasn't until Philip was like, okay, brother, I got you. And then he helped him out and was like, yeah, I want to get baptized. And then he was, you know, able to go out and spread the good news himself. And so that was wonderful. But obviously he's not doesn't say that he was, Philip laid his hands on him and gave him apostolic succession, but he is free to, you know, go out and do as Jesus commissioned and spread the good news. So I do not attend the TLM. I hear that is the place to go. I hear that is like tradition is it. And honestly, like after being a Protestant for so long, I would love to get some tradition. We actually tend the Novus Orders, I think is what it's considered. But I don't know. We have a wonderful parish, and I still feel like it's very traditional to me. It's not like we have music on the wall or the band's like all the way in the back. They're not the main stage. It's all about Jesus. So I love that. So yeah, I would definitely like to check out the TLM. I think after is his name like Harrison Butler or something like that? After he came out, it was like, that was all the rave. Everybody feels like they need to go to the TLM, and I think people just like tradition. We don't want to get away from tradition, because then we're definitely going to get too worldly. But I don't really see a problem with the Novus Orders, but maybe it's because I'm so used to like rock concerts that there's no real difference to me. Let's see. Okay, let me see if I have any more questions that you guys talked about. Is it loving to call out sin? Yes, it is absolutely loving to call out sin. We need to do it with so much humility and grace. And I know that, I mean, we're sinful. We're sinful people. And so therefore it is not always easy to, it's not always easy for us to be perfect. But if you truly love Jesus, then yeah, you want to help your brother and sister out. And I think so many people use Matthew, is it chapter 7? But they'll talk about like, oh, thou shalt not judge. And, you know, well, you know, it says Jesus went on to talk about how we need to remove the plank from our own eye before we try to remove the speck from our brother's. So it's not that, hey, you can't judge ever. It's that we need to judge rightly. We can't just go out there and try to tell our brother, oh, you need to be like this and be like that, and then us be just as crummy. You know, we have to get our heart right with the Lord too. But how else are we supposed to help each other out? And what were we reading when Paul was like trying to teach all the things that they were supposed to do? He was trying to direct them, and he was trying to teach them, and that was him calling them out and loving them. So yeah, we're definitely supposed to call out in sin, but doing it lovingly. And I know, again, we're not perfect. So, but anyways, all right. Does anybody have any more questions? I appreciate everyone joining the live. I feel like it was pretty successful for our first live, so we'll have to do it again. Coda actually did pretty good. Yeah, did you do good? Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're going to jump off of here. Daddy should be home soon. And I think there's like a thunderstorm coming or something. I live in North Carolina, so there is supposed to like rain for the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. Maybe it's like a hurricane. I don't know. I don't watch the news. I don't know what's going on outside the world. I'm just trying to like get through the baby spit up and the craziness here in our house. So I don't even have time to watch the news. But anyways, thanks, Jamie. So glad that you guys joined. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. No, don't you do it. Thanks, Cody. No, don't do it. All right.